Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Social DIY. Today I'm going to follow up my previous video on how to tell if a girl likes you with a little bit of an expose for all you ladies out there who might want to know two things about guys. One, how to know when a guy likes you, and two, how to keep said guy. More importantly, how to keep said guy liking you. As a guy, certainly have some idea of how this works out, and want to let you understand that there's not necessarily a huge mystery here any more than I see there being a huge mystery involved in understanding if a girl likes you. The only difference being the means to keep a woman are typically a little bit more dynamic than what it takes to keep a guy. Guys, for the most part, we're pretty simple creatures in that we like things to work efficiently, or at least we like them to work as efficiently as we are mentally capable of doing. And of course, that's that's going to be based off of a whole lot of different factors. I'm not going to say all guys are too dumb to be able to make things to work efficiently, but some guys are, some guys aren't. I'm the kind of guy, I kind of have a obsessive preoccupation with things running efficiently, quickly, concisely, and properly. So having that said, there's a lot that can be done from my point of view that I can do to make things a little bit more simple to take care of. When it comes to telling if a guy likes you, it's usually pretty easy. Is he talking to you? Number one, if a guy's talking to you and he's talking to you pretty consistently, and more importantly, if he's actually trying to either A, leave space for you to speak to him, to continually communicate back and forth with him, and if he is trying to drum up conversation with you, possibly bring you into little things. Like how I like to do things often enough is, if there's someone that I'm attracted to, I might try to draw them into a conversation with myself and others, try to let them feel like they can include themselves if they want. So it's kind of a matter of not only opening the door to say, hey, there's probably a good chance that I like you, or at least think you're attractive. Here's your opening to let me or anyone else know that you might be attracted to either to me or somebody else in the group. So that's one of the first things. Is a guy trying to draw you into a conversation? Is he specifically asking about your day without sounding condescending? When they're looking like, oh yeah, well, how was your day? He's probably just trying to be halfway nice while at the same time being kind of an asshole. But if it's trying to draw you into more than just little icebreaker conversations, how's your weekend been? Oh, what was that about? Oh, did you enjoy doing that? Well, was there something else a real conversation? Most women out there, what a real conversation is, so you kind of know what I'm talking about. At that point, if a guy likes you, it's the only thing you really need to do. But if you like a guy and he's doing these things, he's bringing up conversation, you see him looking at you, you see him observing you, he's interested in your day, that's when you go ahead and open the door, let him into your world a little bit and see what goes on from there. Don't be afraid to say, hey, you want to do something at some time, because this is a more modern time, and a lot of guys feel like, even though they might want to ask a girl out or ask a girl to go on a date, sometimes they hesitate. A lot of us guys will hesitate because we never know, because we don't know you. We don't know if you're going to blow up with some crazy feminist, what's going on? You don't have to take this role and blah, 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 blah. And we're conditioned now not to know what we need to do until we actually get to know you. So don't put a lot of blame on us first off, because if we don't do things the way you want them done, it's because we're not telepathic, so we don't know. And this leads into, if you're with a guy and you like him and you guys are together and you're trying to keep him, first and foremost, do not try to destroy the harmony at home. All men, except maybe the Hollywood men, have a desire to have harmony at home. We don't want to go out into the world and deal with stresses, deal with work, deal with the competitive natures, just to come home and have to listen to a bitch fest at home. We're not looking to compete with our partners. We compete with our friends, we compete with our coworkers, we even compete with family members. We don't want to have to come home and continue that competition. Coming home is a time for us to relax. And if we can't do that, then we're going to go elsewhere to do that. And it creates this whole cycle where, oh, you don't spend enough time with me, you start bitching, and it just continually degrades that sense of harmony until, oops, the guy says, fuck it, I'm out of here. So if you're wanting to keep a guy, not saying keep your opinion to yourself, but use that natural sense of feminine diplomacy that guys often don't inherently have. Use that to your advantage. Guys want there to be harmony. Guys are willing to give in a little bit and give way a little bit here and there to have that harmony. Some guys might be assholes, and that's the thing. You got to remember in this video that there are exclusions to every rule, including this with guys. There are some guys who like the drama. There are guys who are just flat out abusive. There are guys who are, in the male mind, very much like little girls. They can't do anything. They're not willing to be part of anything. They're just looking for a sugar mama. That's going to be kind of few and far between. And if you're looking for that, then, good luck with that. That's fine. Do it, but don't expect all men to be that way. Secondly, it's not that a guy has to feel funny. He does have to feel useful. Now, that doesn't mean when he gets home, oh, you need to do that, then you need to do that, because no guy likes to be ordered around, especially at home. But if he feels useful, if he feels valuable to you, he's going to want to stay with you. If he can't feel like there's any value at home, then he's going to go find value with somebody else. And you got to understand, guys can find value in many places. We're very good at doing this. And you would be amazed how many females you personally might know. In fact, some of you probably have gone through this, where a guy ends up dating your friend, or dates a family member of yours, dates your sister, or your cousin, or something like, or even just goes back to his ex-girlfriend, because there was more validation there in his existence. You want to keep a guy, you got to tone down that feminazi idea that men are just there to work towards women's happiness, because men aren't. Men were not designed to just solely work towards women's happiness. Men are naturally geared and hardwired to work towards kind of a social status, resource acquisition, comfort, harmony at home, and those things are what bring value home, and his wife or girlfriend or whatever should be able to recognize that and understand that guys do not see the world the way you do. So we're not telepathic. We don't know what you want, and half the time, even when you tell us directly, there are times where a lot of guys have been raised by single moms, kind of a deal, and that's become a very major problem recently, and I call that a problem based off of our cultures. How are gender roles determined when you were raised by your mom? A lot of guys don't really understand the various nuances that women can in fact be direct with them. They automatically think that there's going to be like some hidden agenda, some ulterior motive going on. So, what women say is not what they mean. So you need to be able to let whoever you're with know. It's like, no, if I'm saying this because this is what I'm really talking about. There's no ulterior motive here. I think blah. What do you think? Bring them in as a partner. Don't try to dominate them. Don't try to domineer them. And even don't necessarily try to be constantly submissive, because guys are wrong. And guys don't like to admit we're wrong any more than girls do. So make it a partnership. If you want to work things out, especially with a guy, keep him happy. Guys, we're very much creatures of habit. We like to get into various habits because they're routines that work for what we're trying to accomplish, and it gives us some sense of happiness. That happiness needs to be able to work along with yours. If you are happy going around and sleeping with every guy you find, and your boyfriend or husband is sitting at home and he's a loyalist, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And vice versa. If he wants to go philander around and you're just sitting there nagging at him, you need to leave him, okay? Because he's obviously not ready to be committed or settle down with you anyway. So if you want to keep a guy, don't be a feminazi about it. Just come to them as a partner. Be willing to come to them on equal terms with everything. Be willing to accept their ideas. If it's something that really is stupid and you can prove it, bring up a logical conclusion, because when a woman starts breaking down into emotional fits, at first that can work, but eventually, and it can take months, sometimes even years, the male mind becomes resistant to that, and we just start thinking about it like, oh, here she fucking goes again. I'm just going to do what I want, and if she don't like it, what's she going to do, cry more? Those are the kind of things you got to be able to think about, because unfortunately, in our age, the feminist age, there really isn't a whole lot of emphasis on women and consequences. All the consequences are still expected to fall on males, and we just don't like that. Especially if it's not something we are actually at fault for. I know I sure in the hell wasn't out there in the 1920s oppressing women or whatever the hell was supposed to be going on that created all this. So I don't really care to be punished for that. When it comes to being older and trying to attract a guy and keep a guy, remember that guys are having to look at you in a different light. And by that different light, I mean, how much baggage do you have? How much of an effect does that have on your life? And more importantly, how much are you going to put that baggage on him? So, you got to keep in mind that, whether you like it or not, or even really approve of it or not, guys are a major part of the relationship equation. So what we think and how we feel does matter. So long as you make it clear that that does matter and that you expect that to be reciprocated, things can really work out really well between people. The big problem in relationships is that one person cannot accept the fact that there's a couple little facets in relationships. One person always produces more, one person always loves more, and one person always gets more. And those are not always, the same person. Very often guys produced more in the relationship, but women loved them more. But at the same time, women today are also able to have more because, in a sense, this is one of the biggest reasons why marriage is becoming less and less attractive to males, is women have that ability to take almost everything that a man earns, even if they've earned nothing themselves. So we get this mindset of, is it really logical to get trapped into a contract where the person who produces the least is allowed to take the most? We don't, we're smart enough to know that's no way to live. That's nothing to risk. There's no reason at all to risk that. Especially when we are willing to work very hard in our relationships and with our family, negating the few men who are just kind of lazy bums. But if you want a man to man up and, settle down with you, you have to be willing to woman up and play your part in that relationship. The things that make guys happy, guys, we like healthy sex lives. We like good food, and we like harmony at home. And really, those are not extremely difficult things to produce. Guys are already trying to make sure that things can happen that way. So it's just a matter of jumping on board with that. It's things you just can't change no matter how female you are. So just keep that in mind. Remember, guys want to be with you, but at the same time, we are looking at things from a resource acquisition state. That's how our minds are hardwired. If you're not somebody who we can construe as being a valid resource, we're not going to put time into you. If you're, unfortunately, if you are 400 pounds, 25 years old and falling apart, and you've got 3 kids by 3 different guys, and you're wanting some other guy to just come up and man up and take care of you and, babysit your kids, and you're going to have to keep your expectations kind of low, because guys who are willing to man up and who have honorable intentions are looking for somebody who has had those same intentions. Somebody who is not out philandering around, somebody who's not just completely letting themselves go. As you expect men to have certain qualities, men do expect you to have certain qualities. And to make a relationship work, you both have to either compromise on that or achieve both of those things. Expecting a guy to do everything while you kind of sit around doing nothing isn't going to work. You might be able to get him because he's horny and desperate, but that doesn't mean he's going to stay with you. As soon as something else comes along, he's going to go to it. With that in mind, if you have any questions or comments, would like any feedback, or have any suggestions for new topics on this, let me know. Again, you can hook up with me on Facebook or Twitter, Mr. Vitala for Twitter. I usually put the links to both my Twitter and Facebook in the comment section. By all means, give me comments, feedback, let me know what you think. And with that, this has been another episode of Social DIY.